Donald Trump is not an idiot. Donald Trump, let me just be very clear. Donald Trump is smarter than me, you, and all critics. You know why we know? Because he has the White House, the Senate, the House.
Totally agree.
Court, the popular vote.
MSNBC and CNN are floundering following a post-election slump. The two liberal-leaning networks saw a downturn after Donald Trump's 2016 victory, but this time their views have plummeted even deeper. According to Nielsen, MSNBC's viewership was down by more than half, with an average of 603,000 primetime viewers from the day after the election through December 8th. CNN was down 46%, with 401,000 viewers on average. Meanwhile, the viewers appear to be flocking to Fox News, which was up 12%, averaging about 2.7 million viewers.
How the hell did Donald Trump figure out that the mainstream media is the fringe and the fringe is now the mainstream? How the hell did Donald Trump figure out? I mean, Joe Rogan is obvious, right? Like, we knew the guy had a big audience. It's not like we were like stunned, but like, how the hell was he, the 78-year-old guy who doesn't even have a computer and still like writes handwritten notes, how did he become the guy who cracked the code on, to your point, running a cultural, I don't even want to say campaign, running
it was a movement.
Look, heading a cultural movement versus a campaign.
Every one of your people knows Elon. Listen. So I mean, everybody keeps, I mean, the problem is you have a framework in your mind that, how can Donald Trump? Guys, can we cut it out? Donald Trump is not an idiot. Donald Trump, let me just be very clear. Donald Trump is smarter than me, you, and all critics. You know why we know? Because he has the White House, the Senate, the House.
Totally agree.
Court, the popular vote. He has a massive media ecosystem bigger than the mainstream built around him and for him, and a religious fervor in a political movement around him. And his best buddy is the richest person in the history of the world, and the most relevant Kennedy is with him. This dude is a phenomenon. He is the most powerful human on earth and in our lifetime. And we're still saying, well, how was this guy? We look like idiots to ordinary people.
You're totally right.
Donald Trump ran for president for one reason and one reason only: to make all of his legal problems, poof, go away. And for the most part, he was successful, with one exception. Yesterday, the New York judge who presided over Trump's hush money trial denied his bid to toss out his guilty verdict, meaning Trump will have to live with the infamy of being the first convicted felon president. But that isn't stopping Trump from trying to hit the delete button on every other bad headline ever printed about him, going so far as to sue Iowa pollster Ann Seltzer and the Des Moines Register, saying he's seeking accountability for brazen election interference over a November poll that showed Kamala Harris up 3% in Iowa. Never mind the fact that Trump won the election and won the state of Iowa by double digits. He's clearly feeling emboldened by ABC News agreeing to pay a $15 million settlement in a defamation lawsuit. Nearly every legal expert said that they would have won. And as others in the media show, they are increasingly willing to comply in advance, like the owner of the LA Times, Patrick Soon-Shiong, who Oliver Darcy is reporting requested that the newspaper's editorial board outright take a break from writing about Trump and balance any critical editorials or articles with positive ones. Well, I mean, yeah, and, there's sort of a game people play of mocking Canada. Well, now Canada has been mocked by its own prime minister. Justin Trudeau went down to Mar-a-Lago as if Trump is already president. He's not president yet. He didn't go running to the White House of the real current president. He went to him as if he could just become a supplicant. And now Chrystia Freeland, who's his finance minister, she's out of there because she's like, we need to come up with a strategy to deal with Trump's tariff plan. That is not a strategy, and it is humiliating. And if I were a Canadian, I'd be absolutely disgusted. It's interesting that it's said that there's a crisis of manhood, right? That is being said a lot on the right. There is a crisis of manhood, but it's on your own side, guys.
At one point, he had his eyes closed for over a minute, resting his head in his hands, with onlookers claiming he looked tired and spoke hoarsely.
Can I ask you sort of a chicken and egg question? Is it President-elect Trump and his potential tariff threats that's causing this, or is that merely stoking a fire that was already lit? in essence?
It's sort of ancillary to it because this was actually an opportunity for Justin Trudeau to get a bump in the polls because a lot of Canadians perceive Donald Trump as being difficult to predict. And therefore, when things go wrong, it gets sort of assigned to the, oh, well, it's Donald Trump category rather than why isn't our prime minister handling it correctly. So a lot of Liberals were anticipating that Trudeau could benefit from this. And that has not been the case. Instead, Donald Trump has belittled Justin Trudeau at a time when he is highly unpopular with Canadians. And this has been the case for about a year for Justin Trudeau. And I think sometimes people outside Canada don't realize his popularity here has been slipping and stuck in very low numbers. He's made a lot of unpopular policy decisions. And that's why there's sort of this is, the question on is this the nail in his coffin?